We're going to discuss about engineering, which is one of the most favorite and famous streams in the country. Even if you have decided to take engineering, there are a lot of examinations, and how are these examinations structured? Well, I'm going to tell you a story. There are no facts in this, but it will just help you to understand. After 1947, one of the primary goals that we were facing was education. How do we build the educational infrastructure? By then, Harvard's, Stanford's, and all the big universities across the world were already built. But in our country, we were still looking forward to building big institutions. So then the central government has decided that why don't we have the top institutes which can compete with any of the big universities across for engineering. So the IITs have come. These IITs are under the MHRD, which is directly under the ministry, and they have budgets, they have infrastructures, they have the human resource capital. They had everything at that time, and they still maintain the importance for IITs. Whereas on the other hand, the states also had to develop. The individual states in the country also had to develop their education infrastructure. And for engineering, they had their own universities which have been running, or the universities which recently formed. For example, in Hyderabad, we had Usmania University. JNTUH did not come then yet. So the Usmania University had engineering. Every state had its own university. The seats in the universities were not sufficient for all the population in the country. So the government had to encourage the private institutions to establish so that they can provide seats to the students. But the government has come up with a rule and said, okay, you can start your own private institute, but it will be under the guidance of the government. Your college has to be affiliated to one of the universities that the government runs. The question papers come from us. Evaluation happens on our terms. We will be giving them a degree. You will just enable the whole system. Then the private institute said, sounds great. And they started their own private institutions. So we had central government universities, we had state universities, and now we also had the private colleges which have started affiliated to the universities. Now going forward, things have changed. More of private universities came, more central universities came, state universities came, and also these regional engineering colleges also started emerging. So for every region, the government, central government has thought, okay, other than IITs, we should also have engineering colleges for a region where all the students get their quota in that regional engineering college. For example, there was REC Warangal, REC Kurukshetra. There were different RECs, and they were giving the majority quota to the people coming from that region. Later, the same RECs have become NITs, National Institute of Technology. Before they were called RECs. As the population increased, as the private colleges started flourishing in their own sectors, an engineering college management would have thought, why don't I start a dental college also? Why don't I start a medical college also? And they started their own different colleges in different streams, which were again affiliated to the universities. And gradually these universities started growing so much and they needed some free hand. So they went to the government and they said, why don't we have a university that we can only run? We will make sure that the quality is maintained. Then the government said, okay, this is a checklist that you need to take care as per the body that I am establishing. And if you maintain this quality, then I will give you the permission to run a private university. And that is how the third category of colleges came, called deemed universities. Let it be BITS Pilani, VIT, SRM, Lovely Professional University, or any of the private universities that you see today are deemed universities which were once upon a time affiliated to the government universities. The whole landscape has got into three categories today. You have central government universities like IITs, IIITs, and NITs. You have state universities and the affiliated colleges to them. And you have the private deemed universities. So when a student finishes 12th in MPC, he or she writes IIT JEE, writes a local CET, common entrance test in the state, and also takes the test of different private universities like BITSAT, VIT, SRM, LPU, and all. This is how the whole category is. If a student is preparing for IIT, JEE, they will be able to write other entrance examinations also. So hence, at Amogha Junior College, we don't have a separate batch for MSET, IIT and all. A student is preparing for engineering, he or she will start appearing for all the different entrance examinations. We cannot say that the student will write only MSET, or the student will write only BITSAT, or the student will write only IIT JEE. It's important that the students need to write multiple entrance examinations, have a list of shortlisted colleges that they want to join, and start preparing for those colleges. And that is how the college planning happens during the second year of intermediate in Amogha. If you have more doubts on engineering, you want to know more, you can always reach out to us. All you need to do is call us, drop us an email, or just go to the website and reach out to us. Until then, take care.